Well, let's continue then on this conversation and bring in Chad Thomas. He's a crime expert who's also joining us on this very topic to discuss that further. Chad, I don't know how much of Andy's interview you've heard. One of the things that he is saying, though, is that what we're likely to expect and see then tomorrow during Cat Matlala's testimony is explosive testimony and just probably more revelations around his relationship with the heads of, various law enforcement authorities, and that there's going to be a shake-up of sorts within these institutions. What's your take?
Good afternoon to you, the viewers, and to my very good friend, Andy Mashaile. I tend to agree a lot with what Andy said. And I do believe that the testimony is going to be both explosive, but more important, confirmatory. In other words, we're going to be hearing that a lot of the allegations that were made during that July 6th presser by Mkhwanazi and what's come out subsequent to that is in fact going to be verified and validated by Vusi Cat Matlala. We know that Vusi Cat Matlala is in a position that the only thing he can do is fight for his life by throwing those under the bus. And as much as he's portrayed himself as being one of the top five, as being a very influential person in the underworld, trying to replace Mswazi, also known as Mswati, after Mswazi, also known as Mswati, passed away, the fact remains is that there's a lot bigger fish that sit above Vusi Cat Matlala. My impressions after being in court during the time that Vusi Cat Matlala was applying for bail in respect of the matters that were brought before the Alex Court, which will be transferred to the High Court, is that he's in such a position that the state is able to perhaps offer him a deal in terms of a plea bargain, and perhaps as part of that deal and plea bargain, he's going to reveal who the ultimate beneficiaries were in terms of the syndicate of which he was a part of, but of which he never headed up. So I do believe that as much as it's going to be explosive, it's going to be to a certain extent confirmatory of what we've already heard.
Yeah. And I mean, when you consider, of course, that the commission and to some extent the Ad Hoc Committee also heard how this private company, Cat VIP Security Services, was then granted these sweeping law enforcement powers under this, irregular agreement. What are we likely to see currently in the EMPD particularly? I mean, are we likely to see more suspensions?
Most probably. He was using EMPD members as well to moonlight for him. Together with Cat Protection Services, he was running a financial scheme under the guise of a company called Right to Own, together with a chap called Tyron Fenter and his wife Shanae Fenter. Some of those vehicles ended up being stripped to a company called AV Motor Spares. It's currently the focus of a vehicle theft unit investigation, as well as a unit by the Pretoria Commercial Crimes Unit. And these are all interlinking cases that just shows how emboldened Vusi Cat Matlala had become. When one looks at this vehicle fraud syndicate, he was using those vehicles in cat protection. Some of these vehicles were equipped with blue lights. Some of these vehicles that were taken from victims that he took by force using his security members and his EMPD members who were moonlighting were given to people who may have been subject of lifestyle audits, but they could get to drive luxury cars that wouldn't necessarily be picked up on their name because they were kept on other persons' names. So there's not just the cases we've heard about, like the police wellness tender and all these other cases that have come to the fore, but there are a lot more other cases on the peripheries that involve him, including investigations into Mpumalanga involving security at coal mines, involving weapons that move from one security company to another. So Vusi Cat Matlala is in a very, very, very tight corner, not just because of the cases that had been exposed publicly, as well as at Matlanga and at Ad Hoc, but as well as the other cases that are currently being investigated on the peripheries and have been the focus of investigations for the past 2 years.
Just looking at the logistics within how this Ad Hoc Committee is not moving to hear the testimony at the correctional facility, from your security vantage point, I mean, what are some of your concerns or even maybe notes in terms of how this is likely going to unfold from a logistic perspective, given too just the testimony that we've heard of how dangerous some of these characters that are coming out of the Ad Hoc Committee as well as the Matlala Commission testimony can be?
Kgosi Mampuru, the second prison, isn't just the Pretoria Central Prison that houses CMAX, it's also the head office for correctional services. It's an entire campus, it's an entire precinct. It has many prisons of different security levels dotted about, including CMAX as well as awaiting trial and other type medium prisons. What was interesting is 3 weeks ago, we were invited to a SAPS function that was held there. It was an Excellence Awards function, and they have a very big conference facility that's housed within that very big complex. There's a lot of security there, and I don't foresee any issues in respect of the security for the parliamentary members, the people that are leading the evidence, the other witnesses, because there's already a task team from Correctional Services that's based on that premises. There are a lot of different levels of security you need to get through. And I think from a logistics perspective, moving somebody from CMAX down to Cape Town, or moving a parliamentary ad hoc committee up to Johannesburg or Pretoria in this case, it's neither here nor there. It just shows just how seriously this committee is taking its obligations and its terms of reference by coming up. And I don't believe that they're going to restrict their testimony in Gauteng to just Cat Matlala. I believe there's 2 other witnesses that they may be calling who are also based in Gauteng, just to justify the fact that they're coming to Gauteng to hear testimony.
Absolutely, Chad. Thank you so much for your time and your analysis. Chad Thomas is a crime expert, just unpacking, of course, all the developments that will be happening over the next couple of days. Of course, businessman and attempted murder accused Vusimuzi, Cat Matlala, who's currently in custody, expected then to testify before Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee, looking into those concerns around security, national security rather, and all of that happening in Gauteng.